Township Board of Trustees regular business meeting to order on May 30th at 12:01 p.m. And I would ask our Police Chief Byron Smith to please open us in prayer.
Let's pray. Father God in heaven, Lord, we thank you for this day. Lord, we ask that you bless these proceedings, be with each and every one of us, keep everyone's heart pure. We ask for you to bless everyone's family and the surrounding proceedings. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Madam, you have the report? Yeah, I'll do it, but we won't do it first. We good there? All right, just for the record, I am opening the meeting, Franklin Township Board of Trustees, regular business meeting on May 30th at 12:01. We have had an opening with prayer. We are just reiterating that because of the reporting. And I would ask Trustee Blevins if he would lead us in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ma'am, will you give us a roll call?
Jim?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes. All right. For those of you that picked up the agenda, try to follow along. We are going to move some things around. As there's some people not here that need to speak, and there are some that we want to get taken care of right away. So let's start this off with Mr. Trustee Blevins. He has a scholarship to hand out to Lacey Atkins.
This is Lacey Atkins. Come up and stand beside Bro, Mr. Major.
I'll stay out of the way.
No, go ahead. Get in your chair, because I wanted to tell her you won't bite. So you won't bite, I promise. So this is Lacey Atkins. Lacey, I'm Trustee Mike Blevins, and I wanted to introduce you to the other trustees. And so this is Chairman, I'm
Your
sorry.
Vice Chair.
John Fleshman.
I'm sorry. Okay, so Vice Chair John Fleshman, Chairman James Leeser, and myself is Mike Blevins. So let's get a little bit of the, Lacey couldn't be here at the last one. She had to take a test in order to graduate. And it's Saturday, isn't it? Graduation's actually Saturday? That's what I thought. So, get a little quick business out of the way. I wanted to let everybody in the audience know none of the funds for the scholarship is from taxpayers' money. It's all been through donations. And so, with that being said, it's a scholarship from the Board of Trustees for Franklin Township. And we're going to present her with a check, and she is going to attend Columbus State.
Oh, awesome.
That's
Your goals are? Oh, awesome. I got a question for you. Will you come back on breaks? I'm assuming you're gonna be living close, but come back, say, at the end of the year and let us know how things are going. And just stay in touch. I know I understand, but we won't put you on the spot tonight.
You're the second recipient. Proud to give you this check for $1,000. We hope it does you a lot of good. Let's give it come back and get a picture of the whole board. If you'd like.
Come back, Mom. Nicole, can you operate her phone too?
Yeah.
Just stand right there. Your mom.
Oh, it's an iPhone.
Come on in. Your
Come
mom.
on in. This is a.
I wish you good luck.
Thank you all.
Congratulations.
Good luck on Saturday. Nice job, Mom. It's tough to get done in this day and age. And you're welcome to stay if you'd like, but we take nothing from it if you have other things to do. So it's up to you guys.
It is a great honor to be able to do that, to hand out a scholarship with all the things that we get and the busy work that we do. And it is an honor to us that we've been able, Mike's take the lead on it, to be able to raise the funds, to be able to give two scholarships out this year, so.
And I thank Mike for your
Yes.
diligence and work that you do on that.
Teamwork.
Great- Yeah, great work.
It's teamwork.
He has taken the lead and he's done a great job at it. Okay, moving on, where are we at? Old business. It looks like proto discussion. Would you like to?
Just to, gentlemen, just to follow up, we had representatives from Proto here, at a trustee meeting 2 weeks ago, trustee meeting. And they were able to present their position as to how they would like to move forward. We heard from Captain Breaker and Bill Toole, who is the township's building inspector. We had our legal counsel here, Julie Donovan, as well, who gave her input. And I believe where we are now at a position where how do the trustees wish to handle moving forward with the Proto situation? As you know, the township has been working with Proto for at least 2 years in trying to get a number of zoning and permitting and compliance issues resolved. To date, to no avail. I believe the Proto representatives were looking for a compromise. And again, based on advice from Mr. Toole and Captain Breaker and our attorney, it's something that the township needs to address as, is this satisfactory to allow them to make compromises so they can continue doing business as they are doing it? I know they offered one solution where they wanted to hire an engineer to come out and do some soil testing to see if their footers and their piers were in compliance. They are going back to their original builder to see what kind of changes the builder can make to the existing structure to bring it more in line with the permitting and zoning process. So where we are today is, are the trustees at a position yet to decide how they want Proto to remedy all these outstanding issues?
I can't speak for the other two trustees, but I think I made my statement, and I thought the board really made our statement together on that at the meeting, that we want them to bring it up to code of whatever Mr. Toole and the state of Ohio building codes are.
So I heard a lot that he had to say, and it was like this. I went to my dentist and I had a bad toothache and they filled one of my tooth. Well, after the Novocaine wore off, I realized they filled the wrong tooth. So now am I going to go back to the same dentist to try to get the right tooth taken care of, because I've already paid for the tooth that he supposedly done. So Proto is doing the same thing. They're saying, well, we want the developer or whoever it was that done it, we want them to come back and fix everything. And my thing to him was, it is your business, but I'm not going to go back to the same guy that didn't get any permits, poured the concrete, we told you not to do it, you went ahead and did it, did no soil samples, no nothing. And now this company is he's trying to lean on that company to come back and do it. That is on him. From this side of the table, we have to hold their feet to the fire. Whatever your issues are and whatever dentist you pick, doesn't matter to me. What matters is the safety of the people that are working in that building, and what Tools and Associate that does our current building says is appropriate. And they said to us in that meeting that they have not met the minimum safety on that building codes. So at bare minimum, they need to come up to what code standards are. And I say that to say this, it doesn't matter to me what his issues are and et cetera, but what does matter is in Franklin Township, you can't just throw something up and say, oh, I'm sorry.
Mike, do you have any?
Yeah, I most definitely have something to say. So I would appreciate it when we have speakers come to the meeting like 2 weeks ago, and it was their turn to speak, if they would have been afforded the opportunity to come up to the podium in a correct manner when it first started.
Sure.
Our attorney stops us in the middle of the meeting and suggests that to us and everything. Steve wrote me an email on May the 8th explaining Proto because I'm new, and that's where I'm coming from here. This isn't a scolding or anything. I'm just asking you guys to remember I'm new on things. I need to be brought up to date and everything. And so I got lost in all of that. But when people come in, we need to give them an opportunity to make a presentation, and we were solving his problems
Right.
before he got his presentation, and you're saying right, so I'm assuming you're agreeing with me.
I do, because one of the things that he was doing, and that's why I said if a frog had wings, it wouldn't bump its rear. His whole thing was his problems, and I think,
And-
you were quick to say, Mr. Tools is back there, you have to meet what he says versus all these issues reasons that he have. You're correct, sir.
So, what I wanna say is when people come in, can we just give them, I wanna treat them with respect, and we need to be respected, and when they no longer respect us, we won't respect them. And I can't gather and I can't make an opinion off of that last meeting for the information that I got. So I'm going to rely on you two, who have been here the longest and everything, and so I will ride with whatever you guys say and what's best for the township. But in the future, I would just appreciate when people come in to speak, if we can just give them a little bit of chance to come to the podium and treat them with a little bit of respect.
I believe they were treated with respect. That's another discussion. So do we need a resolution? Was you asking for a resolution or a motion, Mr. Mazur?
I think probably you would just need a motion, voicing your stance and how you would like to proceed with Proto.
Then I would make the motion to proceed with this as stated at Proto needs to bring up their building standards to the minimum as Mr. Toole, our chief building inspector, contractor that handles our building permits, has asked them many times to do in the past. Whatever his lead is on it, whatever he says needs to be done, it needs to be done that way. Is there any discussion on that? Hearing no discussion, I would ask for a second.
I would second that.
Jim?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Thank you. To bring everybody up to speed, I know some of you have not been here, but I will bring you up to speed on this. And the stance that we're taking on this is because Proto has erected a building on property that sits within the township without any building permits, without any soil samples. They had one building permit for a storage / temporary building to use like a kind of like a gatehouse. And they have gotten electricity. They've erected a large building, and it sits on a landfill, and it has put the employees and our firefighters, in my opinion, our firefighters and his employees at risk, and we cannot allow that inside of our township. That's a nutshell. If you want more information, please see John, myself, or Mike. I'm not gonna leave him out, but
No, it's fine.
it's.
No, I get it.
We can give you more information on it, but that's that in a nutshell.
We're seeing so much growth with the mall coming down, and past practices is something that a lot of people, if you let one do it, they will yell past practice. You let them do it, why not me? It's not gonna make a big deal, but there is a certain level of standards that we have to maintain, and everyone has to maintain the same level. I'm sure anyone building a house, you expect to meet the code and not anything under it, so.
And if anyone's interested, they can listen to or watch the last meeting for some more information on this. Mr. Mazur, you have, Shakers discussion.
Yes, Chairman. I believe it was 2 meetings ago where representatives from Shakers came in. As you're aware, they had a fire last year. And, the representatives from Shakers came in and they were asking the board for an extension of time to decide how they wanted to remedy, which is what we're calling now a nuisance property. And the board asked that, they report regularly back to the board as to the progress being made with the property. And as to date, we have not seen any improvements made to the property, and we have not received any reports from, the owners. I've been working with Julie Donnan, our legal counsel, regarding how to remedy this situation. Julie is talking with their attorney. Apparently when there is a fire and the township passed a resolution, to be part of this program through the Ohio Department of Insurance. So when there is a fire, the township is entitled to funds to cover the cost of, if necessary, to remedy or demolish the property. So currently,
I'm sorry, Steve, it's, a young lady's trying to get in that I know names, I think. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Steve, I'm sorry.
So currently, I contacted the Department of Insurance and explained the township's position on this. The Department of Insurance contacted the attorney representing Shakers. That attorney contacted me and would basically wanted to discuss the position of the township and the township's authority under the ORC. I connected Julie with him. Julie is in the process now of trying to rectify the situation to see, and I'm not 100% certain, so I'm just going to say to see if, yes, the township is entitled to proceeds from the insurance money that the owners receive, so the township is able to remedy the situation. I do not have a definitive answer yet from Julie, but she is working on it, much like she is working on the Ponderosa structure. So again, what I need from the trustees to communicate to the township's attorney, would you like to proceed with the nuisance property ordinance, so to speak, as directed under the ORC, to again remedy the situation concerning the Shakers restaurant?
I believe the board here had asked for a few different things. One, making the building secure, correct? And to put up a sign stating that it's under construction and possibly a construction fence to keep vandals and also the homeless out of it. I have drove by there, and also to make it, I think I just stated that already, to make it where it's safe and not being able to get in, and I've been by there, there's no fence, no sign. Is Captain Bricker in there?
I was there yesterday too.
Captain Bricker, have they made Shakers, secure?
The last time I was up there, they had the windows and doors boarded up. There was no fence around the property itself, which I know is something they were looking at doing. They did hang no trespassing signs. I did go up there and I believe I made contact with, I can't remember her name, Susan, I believe. Steve, do you remember that lady's name?
Susan Holt,
Yeah, I attempted to call him to let him know that one of the windows had been pried off. And I had found a homeless man on property and made him aware that if he was found on property, he would be arrested for trespassing, because I believe, do they have a no trespass paper for that property?
We do, and we've arrested several people out of it.
So I made him aware of the fact that if the police came there and found him, he'd be arrested for trespassing and he should probably leave. And I left before he did, and then I contacted Chief Smith and said if you'd send somebody there, go ahead. I believe I have not been past the property, the rear of the property where that open window was, in a week. So I don't know if it's still open. I'm hoping they covered it back up, but.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I received an email that I shared with the rest of the board And why I was singled out, I don't know, but he did say that he was just sending it just to me. And his position on it was they are now thinking that they want to be closer to what's going on at Westland Mall. So all indications seem as if they are looking to not do anything with the property and put the money into something that is closer to Westland Mall. My stance on it, as you remember when I spoke to the person, their heart was in it, it was a family, and they wanted to basically, what is called a phoenix, rise from the ashes and keep this going. They brought in people that are wanting to invest in it, and et cetera. I asked them pertinent questions. One of the questions I asked was, is this a total loss? If it's a total loss, generally the insurance company, you get less money. They just, just like your car, it's total, here's your money, and generally that's it. So what I'm getting at is, I don't think that there is enough funding there for them in order to do this. Considering that this time frame has now been, what was the fire date? It's been almost a year.
November.
So coming up on a year that no actions have been taken, but money has been received. So my thought to the board is, at this point, if it pleases the board, that we just need to move forward like we were. We did, it was kind of a 2-to-1, where I was kind of reserved. I went with the board to say, okay, we'll give this company or gentleman an opportunity to see what they can do, and they've taken no actions whatsoever. And they've showed up at no meetings, and so no actions, no smoke, no fire.
So would you like to make a motion?
So I would like to be it resolved by the Board of Trustees, Franklin Township, Franklin County, Ohio, that the board continue on with its plans as a nuisance property, therefore all plans in place. If there's no further questions, I would ask for a second.
Hearing no questions, I would second that.
Jim?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
I'll keep the board updated as to my communications with Julie.
Thank you. That takes care of our old business agenda. I would ask Mr. Fleshman if we could go to the questions.
Sure.
Looks like we have a few. And
Yes, we do.
Looks like we have a few for the same topic.
Mr. Youngman, Jim, you'd like to step up, we'll turn the podium around there for you. Remember, you get 3 minutes to speak. We won't answer you until the end.
I won't take long, don't need it.
Okay.
I just want to thank the board for finally getting the property yard cut behind me. It's been over a year and a half since they cut that property. And I want to thank the board for whoever stepped up and did the job.
I think it was a team effort, but Mr. Blevins took the lead on it.
Yeah, he did take the
Hey,
lead.
he lives right around the corner, it's easier for him.
Right. But, like I said, I've been lied to for a year on that property, and finally got the property cut, and I want to thank you, Mike, and
No, it was all of us. The truth of the matter
And
was, it was all of us,
and,
and, Jim had been out and looked at it and everything, and so it's a team.
I went out with Jim and looked at it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
people look at the front, they do cut the front somewhat, but the back, they just let it go, and they get some height on it now, since the last time you cut it, and I can show you a picture on that, if you want to look at it. But, I figure in a couple, 3 weeks, it's gonna need cut again.
Sure.
Mr. Stevens will put it on the schedule to go by, we got it on the regular schedule to go by and check it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things, the biggest caveat, and the reason that this got done is by a resident coming in, by you coming in and addressing the board and making us aware of it. And we have all of our departments here. It makes it a lot easier when someone comes in, signs up, and comes up and speaks like this. So thank you for allowing us to have the opportunity to help you.
System works.
So, how often would you check on that? Any idea?
Probably once a month.
So I can ask.
Yep.
Okay, next we have Mary.
I'm just gonna stand back here, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, you're fine.
I wanna thank Nicole and Jim and his crew for taking care of the property next door to me. I do appreciate it. Just wanna thank them.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mary.
Next, we have Lisa.
Well, I don't know what the status is of the tearing down of 20 acres on Trade-View coming to Britton Avenue. The last we heard, they were gonna build, I don't even remember the number, 275 apartments or something. And it'll be facing right at Britton Avenue, which is a dead-end street, one-lane street. Our houses are old. My grandfather built the house 90 years ago. And it's not something we wanna see. It's still a small piece of country with a lot of green space and woods for the wildlife, and we just do not wanna see, this kind of issue. Which we fought this a few years ago as well from a different developer, and we did win that time as well, but that's where,
Is that everything?
yes.
Okay, so, Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes.
I drove down your street yesterday evening about 7:45 or so, and, just kinda taking a look at everything. I'm familiar with the street, I'm not far from there. And then looking at the property. On Tuesday night, I, was going to go to a meeting in regards to it, however, it wasn't on the docket. We had similar to this with another resident that was over off of Wilson Road that they're trying to develop, and it makes a difference. So at this point, what we can do is, once they purchased the property, from what I understand, transaction's done, it's been annexed into the city from what I already understand. So it's out of the grasp of the board of Franklin Township. However, Scioto, commissioners, I encourage everyone on the street, I will go to them, and be able to speak, because now what they're gonna wanna do is they're gonna have to change from whatever zoning they are to a new zone, say a C2 versus a C4, whatever the number would be. The other thing, Mr. Stevens, do we have to give them access to our street?
That's gonna be a question we would have to take to the county engineers.
If we could look on that now so that we can find out, because at the end of the street, of course, the guardrail's there, the woods. And was that part of what was sold too, is that woods?
I believe so.
Okay, cause I know some on down, the commissioners Franklin, County owns. There's like back on Chippewa where it dead ends, that woods back there is owned by the county. So I didn't know if it came all the way up. So my biggest concern is this, there's a couple different things. They're wanting to put, I think, 7-story or 4-story, I don't know how,
It's 4 stories.
4 stories. So they're gonna put 4 stories, and they wanna get up as close as they can. They'll probably be asking for permission to become, as we've seen in the last one, and we fought that. And I can tell you that being residents that were involved in that, the residents made a huge difference by showing up and voicing their opinion. I went to those as well, voiced our stance as a board. So it's very crucial that everyone on the street, your brother, your sister, they don't know who all's in the audience. A full room makes a difference on the people that's gonna vote what they can do on the property. So we still have a power there. I don't wanna see them go down the street. Street's 19 feet wide, I believe, single lane. Do we have to share that? We'll have to find out. It's a Franklin Township road.
But I thought the fire department also said that it would be accessible if there was to be fire.
Sure.
To actually
Sure.
accommodate.
So in their site plan, they would have to show the commission this, because they can't, if they're not gonna be able to use our street, which we will be at those meetings, they're gonna have to make concessions on how they can do it. Then the commission has to vote yes or no. If they vote no, they may come back and redo their little plot, figure out what they wanna do. If they still say no, then it goes to city council. However, usually each of the commissions, if they give a no vote, it's very difficult for them to get a yes vote from city council. So being able to go online, see when the meetings and see what's there, pay attention, and we can make a difference on how much they wanna put on there. Now, if you remember, at the corner of Treview and Wilson, McFarland property, we were very instrumental. That was held off a year because of something called the Indiana Act, where they were taking out the trees and they had to do all these studies. It was held up. They were going to put, there are 2 stories now, I believe, and they were wanting something like 7 stories in order to make it feasible for them for the profit margin. Of course, the company built it, they now sold it to someone else, and it's there. But it does make a difference because of the fact that if no one says nothing, they're just gonna let them
Sure.
pass it.
Well, the thing is, I felt like we were kept in the dark. How are we supposed to know?
Absolutely.
About this stuff? And then that there was a meeting, the 28th, I don't know where it would have been, how to
Okay.
get that information.
So, I'm gonna ask one of the residents, she's talking with our fiscal officer, but the meetings is on Hague Avenue, at the library for the commission. And it's usually 6 o'clock, and it's every other Tuesday, is that?
Yeah.
Every
Is
other
it
Tuesday.
Broad and Peg?
Yeah,
Sullivan.
Oh.
And then, so it would definitely be, but there's a way to be able to, go online to Scioto.
West Scioto.
West Scioto
Area
Commissions.
Commission.
And you can see what's on the docket. When you go in, you can be able to speak on it. And the key thing that I find is the people that speak, everyone is gonna speak, everybody speak, don't say the same thing. Everybody have what they're gonna have, so that, and they'll have a representative there and et cetera. I generally like to go last, so that I call it cleanup matter, so that I can give the position of the township and where we stand and et cetera. So it does make an effect. Now, that's not gonna say that they will not be able to build in there. They may find that it's not conducive to what they want, so they may sell it, I don't know, but we have seen that happen though.
And I believe, it's a public road, we have to give them access.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a public road, even though it's Franklin Township, it is a public road, so that we have to allow them to have access.
So that's good to find out now.
But we are doing everything on our power, on our side. I was going to go to the meeting with John, but we didn't have it, so I'll be at the next one if I don't have other meetings.
Yeah. And
John's
then-
been handling the West Iota, so I kinda let him take the lead on it, but if I can be there to voice my opinion, I will be. We all have little different, our own little niches, and it works out well for us, so, but,
Can you,
yeah.
Brenda, can you tell us where, on a website that we can find to follow what's going to come up for the Scioto?
I got my phone number for you so that, we can keep in touch.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I can, send you all that information.
Okay,
Moving on to the next lady.
thank you.
And I had one quick question, if I could, for Mr. Stevens. When on Garrow, you go in on Garrow, and then what is it? Oh, what's the next one that turns left on Garrow, or you go on back? Is that Oak?
Talking about the dead end?
Yeah. And they wanted at one time, this was like back in 2000, they wanted to hook on, and the township's position then was no, and the guardrails are still there on both ends. But the other end, they do have the breakaways in case they needed fire access. So I don't know how we were able to not make that accessible as through traffic.
I think the project just kinda come to a standstill, didn't do anything since then.
Okay.
You're talking about down by Mr. Stokes' house.
No, on Garrow. On Garrow, you come in off of Wilson and on Garrow, come around the curve, come down, turn left. I think that's Oak. Back by the Rices,
Okay.
where the Rices live.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
And
Where
then
we're gonna
that-
go into the city.
Yeah, the city's on the other side, but we have a guardrail there, and it dead ends, and you go on the way back to the back, and then it goes into the city again, but they have never been able to,
I think I just
Access.
didn't, I think I just didn't propose.
no,
to
no,
put
it was a
through.
fight.
No, I mean, I think I just decided not to put it through there.
Yeah, but I still say that we can always give the position of the township on that.
Moving on. To the
Moving
next
on, Cheryl?
Hi, I'm Cheryl Longer. I live on Britton Avenue. I'm here just to express my concerns. Thank you, board, and hello, everybody. I feel like I'm among friends here, which I didn't expect. So I appreciate the prayer before, and I feel like now we have allies, which I've never experienced that in my journey. There are 5 of us here from Britton today. We were very alarmed at the West Iona Commission meeting when they threw up a PowerPoint and developer bought 20 acres and it was right across the street from me. And so I wanna register my concerns about the light pollution that comes, the rodents that come in when you have dumpsters, the traffic, and if the road is widened to accommodate this, half of our front yards are gonna disappear. Our houses are pretty close to the road. And I also wanted to say that we live in San Margarito, which is a very historic part of Columbus. You all know probably about the Italian immigrants that came in. We have so many families of those Italian immigrants on the land that have been there for decades and generations. I think your house was built by your grandfather, did you say? And my next door neighbor has been there and built the house that she's in now, and she's in her late 80s. So I just wanted to register my concerns. I have no idea what to do next. This is only my 2nd meeting. I'm so glad I have allies. That's new and great. But I would appreciate any kind of information on what to do next. And I hear that showing up and expressing our concerns makes a difference, which when I came into this meeting, I thought it would not.
I would encourage you, like John stated with Lisa, to just get involved with the Southwest Area Commission, get on board, go and speak to them. Affordable housing and housing apartments is a hot topic in Columbus. I mean, it's on the news nightly. And unfortunately, as a township, they hold the water and the sewer. So they are annexing people, making people annex to get that water and sewer. And that's where they got us over a barrel, but the fight's not over yet, and you can still go voice your concerns. And we will be voicing our concerns because nobody wants to have, have their property taken from.
Right. Or destroyed.
Or destroyed, but yeah, there's a lot of issues, but you're not alone. We will be there.
Thank you.
Voicing our opinions, and it does make things change. Zoning has changed, and in the city of Columbus, and they're their own entity. And we can't control what they do, but we can make a voice.
And we still are on septic, which we
You
don't
guys are still on
change.
septic,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah, and I thought, last time we fought this battle, that was the key turning point, because they couldn't build on septic.
Well, they can take in sewer off of the Traby Road to that, and that's their
Oh,
plan.
okay, gotcha.
Yep, that's their plans, is to take in sewer off of Traby Road.
So one of the things that I would mention real quickly, and you'll hear more of it, since municipalities are able to do this, there's a federal judge that put something for all villages, townships, and et cetera, called township-wide levy. What a township-wide levy is you do away with every levy you have just one levy. And anyone that is annexed into the city since 2002 would have to pay double taxes. They have to pay our taxes as well as the city taxes, but it would be a yes and no vote for the public to say, yes, I agree to that, or no, I don't. Because I can tell you, every time we lose a piece of property, we have a budget that we have to go by. All of us end up having to pay a little more. So stay tuned for that.
Okay, thank you. I neglected to mention, we have a neighbor, Bob, who's 90-something, and he's been asked to move, and he's just had a stroke, he's had all kinds of health issues, he's lived there forever, and whoever bought the property, and are gonna raise it, had told him he has 30 days to move, and he can't.
He's rented from the Chapins, this twin single, for 30 years.
Yeah, he's been a long-term resident and just all kinds of stories. I won't take up our time.
But he sold the property, right?
Well, Chapin, it was
He's
one,
a renter.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
he's a renter, so.
That's something, unfortunately, we can't, our hands are tied on that. That's
Right.
between the renter and him. Unfortunately, I mean, it's not right, but
And then next up is my neighbor who has a vested interest in this property.
yeah.
we would like to say thank you. She's gonna go home and get ready for work.
Well, thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations.
My property is gonna be right up against where they're proposing to build. Now, from looking at the paperwork of it, they're annexing all that property. We wouldn't be part of the annexation, would we?
Mm.
No,
Because
no,
right
no.
up against my property, and they've moved the property line 5 feet. It's about that far from my driveway. And I know where the property line is. And somebody came out there, I don't know when, and staked it and moved it 5 feet closer to
Yeah,
my house.
I know they're surveying all through that area.
it's a choice. If you wish to annex into the city, anybody can go pay their $250, go to a city council meeting and then annex. What they tell you is when you annex, you don't realize one of the taxes that you have to pay is income tax. So you have to pay, 2.25% of your income on top of your property
Are
tax.
they getting that?
I was gonna look, I have the annexation paperwork, but it's tied up in it. I've got my tablet.
It goes
on.
right up to my property,
Yeah,
where it comes down.
it's a big chunk of land that they're taking part of, part in Norwich Township they're taking, part of ours they're taking, part of the Scioto Woods, those houses will be.
And I
in the
don't think
city.
anybody on our street is younger than 60 years old.
Right.
So you're wishing to stay in the township, correct?
Yeah,
Steve,
yeah, cause
can
on the
they do that?
paperwork, it had the lines and it showed all different, right up to my property was annexed.
Well, then you should be safe then.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe, I do know of in the township that we've seen where you wanted to be annexed, they would just do it for you
Yeah, I don't want-
because they were doing it. But I've never heard where they can annex a person, when they don't wanna be.
Yeah, I don't wanna be annexed.
But if
It shows that mine's not,
then
but it
you're
goes
safe.
right up to my property. My biggest concern is, I've got giant trees all the way down my property line, and they've staked it off and put the stakes there. And I was here 30 years ago when they did the survey and put the property markers in, and they've moved it good that much farther onto my property and put stakes down and driven them into the ground, all the way down. And I've still got the property markers there from 30 years ago when my dad lived there.
Yeah. So the thing that, definitely would do is when they come to a meeting, which they're going to have to do, when they come to a meeting for the Scioto, the representative would be there. That would be a good time to say, listen, I can show you where definitively it was.
Well, he gave me his phone number, but he doesn't answer the phone. He
Gotcha.
doesn't call back.
Okay.
Called him 5-6 times.
Okay. Okay, so we at least know that, and that's something that when we are at a Scioto meeting, that's something definitely we need to address, because, they'll probably wanna take the trees out. I've seen that happen. So, and those are trees you planted, and I already know that's something you wanna keep.
But if they're on your property, they have to buy them.
Well, the property line used to go right through, like, the first tree out by the road. It goes right through the middle of that tree. But there's
And they'll
a
probably-
bunch of big ones back there, and there's the storage shed and back there and everything. And I know where they've always mowed is right on that property line until now. And they've moved it within a foot of my driveway.
Yeah. Okay,
That's what I have a big problem with.
okay. Well, thank you so much
All
for
right,
coming in.
thanks.
So next we have on the list, Jackson.
That was Jackson.
Oh, okay, well,
We're down to Cindy.
Cindy.
Thank you, gang.
Cindy Klein.
Yep.
Pick it up.
Oh, there you go.
Miss Brenda asked me to read her list of questions, cause she's got issues at home. She wanted to ask of you, township loss, and these are her words. Why were the trustees oblivious to a loss of a big chunk of our township? I sent trustee Blevins information about the loss of the northernmost part of the township. I tried to get the trustees to attend a West Iota area commission meeting. Trustee Freshman was taking care of his dad and couldn't go. Trustee Blevins was en route to a family function. Trustee Leeser always has to do something with the RNC, but he's never had time to take care of Franklin Township residents. Next, we're going to lose the area of Westland Mall, then we will lose the township. Question 2, what good is home rule if we have no township left? Is home rule so a power-hungry trustee can micromanage all the township residents? 3, fiscal. Why do we have an elected fiscal officer if she does not show up to work? Does she even do a job? Why are we in need of a part-time assistant fiscal officer when we have Lindsay, Robin, and a CPA we are paying with our tax dollars? I don't care if we have money in the budget, we shouldn't be wasting money on an additional fiscal officer when there was one elected that doesn't do their job that she obviously isn't qualified to do. Sincerely, Brenda Ford.
Thank you. Moving on to, unless you-
That's all that I have.
you have a comment or anything?
Yes, I have been going to the Scioto meetings on a regular basis because we had a situation up off of Wilson Road, back behind the UDF, where the Kittle Company were wanting to put in affordable housing, and it was gonna be right up against that. So I know Brenda and her neighbors did a phenomenal job by showing up, as I was telling you guys how that worked. I went to all those meetings. My father happens to be 91 years old. Tuesdays is my days that I take care of him and shop and we do everything. I didn't know about that meeting until hours before the meeting, and I just physically couldn't make it. I thought there was a meeting on this Tuesday. I made sure to find out for sure if they were, and I apologize for not getting back to you saying, hey, it's not tonight.
No worries.
The meeting was then, but there's nothing new activity-wise as far as this new company. Anyone know the name of the company that bought that? So I don't just say company? Okay, we'll find out what the name of it is. So I do apologize about that. I will touch lightly on why are we doing what we're doing with the fiscal department. Fiscal.
Sorry.
Jeff is here because of the audits that we're doing. He's an outside company and he's a CPA. So our budgets and everything else. The amount of work that there is to be done, we definitely see where we need to stay on top of everything, a part-time person. Lindsay is a elected official and her schedule is similar to like a trustee. It's not a 40-hour day job, and you have people that work underneath her that she supervises. So I have seen the amount of work that Robin does and trying to get everything out. And when you only have one assistant and then you have Lindsay, if somebody's out on vacation or sick, things can come to a stop as far as being able to get the payments out, especially the payroll done and etc. So we didn't feel that it had to be a full-time person, but at least having a part-time person would help pick up the void. Jeff isn't going to be here forever. He is just here on a temporary time frame, and he is basically a vendor. So that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
And I am the same way as John on that, as I did not get the phone call until I believe, I'd have to double check. I believe it was between 5 and 5:30, and I did have other meetings scheduled. So that being said,
I'll just answer that. I spoke to Brenda yesterday, so I'll leave it at that. Just
Okay.
so I at least have a response that I spoke to her on the phone yesterday.
Yeah, I spoke with her too, so
Okay.
it's, and Mike, I appreciate all your hard work on that because she couldn't get a hold of me. Thankfully, she was able to get a hold of you and et cetera. I don't know if there would have been anything that any of us could have done because the person purchased the property, we can't stop it. The person annexed it, we can't stop it. It's the person's property and the city's gonna say yes. So there's nothing Franklin Township can do if anyone wants to annex property.
And that's the hard thing, and that puts us in a tough one. Yeah, we try to make it as many, I know Mr. Major, myself, we cover a lot of other meetings, and we do get privy to information sometimes we don't. Someone buys a personal piece of property, and they wanna annex it, unfortunately, that's what happens. And it's an uphill battle, but we're fighting it, and I know all the other townships around Franklin County is fighting the same issue, annexation by the city of Columbus. There again, there's some townships that are very blessed and they've already got a water and sewer deal lined up. They can protect themselves, but we're not alone. Every township is being ate away, and it's a crying shame that the city of Columbus is basically extorting these people to give them water and sewer to annex into the city proper. And it's basically a land grab by the city of Columbus. The property, the Kittle Group,
Yeah.
I reached out to the Parks and Metro Parks former trustee Ari Alex. Franklin Township former trustee, I reached out to him and was speaking to him because I know he's at Parks and he works there now, he's a director there. And he said the park, like I said, because it butts up against Reddick Park, I was looking for every avenue to be able to save that land from being turned into apartments on top of these people's houses. And he told me that he couldn't touch it, Parks wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. The city of Columbus is on a move to put as many apartments up as they possibly can. And they have already taken property back that was Metro Parks property, taken it back from Metro Parks and are now building apartments on it down in the south, I don't wanna call it south end, but yeah, south side of Columbus, somewhere around the High Street area, around that quarry area. They've already taken that land back from them. It's a big push and we're fighting, every township is fighting it, and every township is fighting as hard as they can to go against it. And
We all seen what happened with the casino. It was the Delphi site. They had sitting in water for 80 years. And the actual groundbreaking, I was there with my dad, and it was in Franklin Township, and it was Franklin Township Board at that time that did the shovels. And a month later, it got annexed into the city because they said they wouldn't give them water and sewer.
so I would, I can't tell you what to do, but I know what we're fighting on our end is we're trying to fight through channels that we have, state reps, as part of the meetings I go to in the evening, state senators, things like that, to get the laws changed where they can't hold townships basically hostage. I mean, residents hostage of having water and sewer. They hold all the cards. But that being said, you have anything else?
I do not.
Mike, you have anything on that? All right, thank you. I believe we answered most of her questions, if not all. Let's move on to new business. We did scholarship. Patty Spencer.
Patient Patty?
Patient Patty.
I got not a whole lot today, but let me piggyback on what they're saying. Part of what I've got here is the city council is having their second zone-in council meeting. And it will include President Hardin and President Pro Tem Rod Florence, chair of the zoning committee, on June 6th at 5:30 at Scioto's Sutherland Recreation Center. And this is for the new proposed 2024 zoning code. And as you've already talked about, it's in your backyard already. It's so far hasn't hit Southwest Area Commission area, but I'm sure it will, which also encompasses a lot of your residents. You're encouraged, as they say, go. Watch it online. They stream these. It's going to be live streamed on Facebook. And if you can't watch it live, you can also pick it up after the fact and watch it, just like you can their meetings here. You have an opportunity to give written testimony if you want. And all I can say, I piggyback everything they're saying. We're just so far fortunate in our little bubble. It hasn't hit us yet, but it will. It will. The next thing I have is free fans. The Department of the Office on Aging, all Franklin County residents age 60 and above can get a free box fan. And I have information here how to contact them to get one. And the last thing I have, several months down the road, July 29th, Charity Newsies Clothing Assistance application will open on Monday, July 29th. And they have the capacity to serve 18,000 Franklin County children for school clothing. So that's coming up in the future. So I will leave this up here with you to, for links and everything, if anybody wants it.
Thank you, Patty. Moving on, no one from the sheriff, okay. Cheryl's already spoke. Laura Palmer, want to speak no parking signs.
Well, you asked me to come back, I did call Prairie Township, if you asked me
Yeah.
to.
We see Mr. Jewell here.
That's you? Okay, well,
He took it out of his busy day to come and bless us with his presence.
appreciate it. So, what are we doing?
Well, we need to create a resolution. I've been out there several times, looked at the traffic. It is a nuisance. Mr. Jewell and I spoke. They've got it all signed up. I can't speak for the other trustees, but you know, we should see a resolution on the next board meeting. In order, there's a process we have to follow to create a resolution. We have to read the resolution, and then it takes 30 days to get it to the county or take it to the road. But it's a process, but I personally, I can't speak for these other gentlemen, but I have seen the issue firsthand several times, especially Fridays is a nightmare. I made sure to go through there a few times on a couple Fridays now, and there's some other days that are pretty rough down through there, and turning out from where I believe is your property is a real problem. And we're gonna work handedly with Prairie Township. We work a lot together, and get the Sheriff's Department and our officers out there to start making sure that you can get out of your driveway.
I believe one of your officers was going to the mosque because there's a lot less parking on the one side now, so
Yeah.
he must have spoken to them. And they've spoken to their group, so it is slowing down a little bit, but it won't be long until we're right back.
Yeah.
Parked on both sides of the road with semis again.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll need to get Mr. Major to write up a resolution.
I have a few questions for her.
Okay.
First of all, what days of the week do you see most of the congestion? Friday. Now, would you like signs just in the area of your business? What I'm getting at, if we put signs in, we may be talking all of the west side
Whatever makes it safe.
of Industrial Mile. Okay,
Whatever makes it safe is what we need to do.
would you be opposed if it just was no parking anytime? It won't affect,
Won't affect anything that we do.
now I'm gonna ask for your opinion, how will that affect other businesses in the area?
It wouldn't.
And are you comfortable just with them being on your side of the street?
Yes. Because the business next to us, I don't know what they do, but they have a large parking lot. So their staff stays within, our staff stays within. And by the time you get around the curve, then you've got a daycare, that's just a drop off. And then on the curve is children's. So nobody parks down that far unless it's Ramadan.
So, my last question, as I explained, it is a process where, and then these signs will have to be registered with the municipal court, which gives the township authority to write tickets. So it is a process.
Yes.
I have a favor to ask you.
What's that?
I have to post in 5 conspicuous areas within the township this notice saying that we're gonna install parking signs. Can I use your business as a conspicuous place to?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mr. Jewell, would you like to speak on this from Prairie standpoint?
Well-
If there's any questions?
You did reach out, you talked to Dave Magnich with our office, and, I drove through there today, and it does look like, Prairie Township's no parking in our area. We do have some signs leaning down, but there were a lot of cars parked right by the signs that say no parking, so, I'll be talking to our deputies. Some of our deputies are notorious for towing. They don't really flinch, so we'll probably reach out to the deputies and we'll leave the sign straighten up first, so there's no way they can say, well, I didn't see the sign, it was leaning down, or they take a picture of it, but, yeah, so we'll address our signs and then I'll ask the deputies to come out and do some enforcement, okay?
Yes, perfect.
Then you see parking now, oh, right here we go, we got an open spot. They didn't see the no, they thought it said ho.
You have anything?
That's right, yeah.
Mr. Levin,
I just wanna thank you for coming.
Yeah, appreciate you, Mr. Jewell. I know you've got a busy schedule like Mr. Major does
I have
most
a
days.
similar issue at my street, so I totally understand.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much, appreciate it.
We're working on it on our side, and we'll have it, like I said, we'll read the resolution at the next meeting. He'll be in touch to post it out there.
We thank you for your time, taking the time to
Yeah,
come in.
it does help. I mean,
Yeah, I hope so.
coming, talking to us, it does help. I hope you guys see it today, that, we're here to fight for you.
Yeah, well,
All of us can't be everywhere at the same time.
and it's
But
really not about our property, it's really a safety.
it is a
When
safety.
people- And we don't have sidewalk on our side.
Right.
So people either walk down the middle of the road or through our parking lot.
Right.
They choose just to be on this side and that's fine, but somebody's gonna get hurt.
I don't know how anyone, I was down to on Friday, I don't know how anyone would turn out. Like I said, I believe I know which property yours is, how they would even turn out of your driveway without putting themselves and the cars in. But thank you for coming,
Thank
we
you very much.
appreciate it. Mr. Wilczek.
I want to take an opportunity to update you as to where some things stand with the audit. From the auditor staked and all the adjustments to the cleanup.
Yeah.
Mark Long did send me an email requesting some additional adjustment on things. And that's just a copy of the email, so I've taken that into account with what we've got here. See, most of some of the things, and I put together a summary of what the auditor adjustments were looking like for everybody, okay?
I got it.
So, what I want to point out to you on a couple of things. As you can see, the list of adjustments involving the funds, these have to get posted. I have not done that yet. Mainly because I've been going back and cleaning up things. As all these adjustments come to light, it affects all the reconciliations for the last 4 years. So I've had to update those and move forward to make sure of what's taking place. A few things that are on here. Audit or the auditor state required a new fund to come into existence, the annexation one that's listed there. Last one on the special revenue. That goes back to the casino, I believe. It's got $21,000 in it that we'll have to find the agreement and look and see how that gets spent. Because off the top of my head, I can't answer that one. Okay? There are a few things that also need to be cleaned up that has come about. There's a couple of small funds that have some balances that need addressed. We'll get those cleaned up and closed. The old SAFER grant, again, because of audit, has a deficit balance in it that's gonna have to get addressed. Unfortunately, it's either gonna be the fire levy fund or general fund that's gonna transfer money to close that fund out. Okay. And as you can see, there's a couple other small funds that need some attention to just get cleaned up and taken care of there. At the bottom of the page, in the adjustment column, there's a $79.86 item. That one cropped up last night as I was going through everything. It is a pile packet transaction, goes back to 21, 22 time frame. There's a receipt that came into play in March, April of 22. So I'm still digging to figure out just what's going on with that. I'm not sure why it cropped up, but it did. And it'll get the appropriate attention to get cleaned up and taken care of, okay? More detail to go with these adjustments. Okay, I don't need to bore you guys with lengthy spreadsheets on some things, but we are getting close to having this cleaned up and taken care of, which I'm quite happy about because it's really working on these things. What I listed there is 20, 21, 22 as to revenue and expenditures and the adjustment effects things. If you flip to page 4, you'll begin to see the detail of the transactions that have come into play that require adjustment from 2020. And they carry on to the next round of pages, which is on page 7. Fortunately, the spreadsheet's 3 pages wide. That's quite a few transactions that have come into play. As we look down the rest of the spreadsheet, you'll see that the adjustments for the latter years, 21, 22, 23, have dropped off significantly.
How soon until we get that pretty much cleaned up?
Well, once I post these adjustments, it's cleaned up.
Okay.
So the aggregate of those adjustments is on the first sheet that I gave you.
Okay.
That will get posted, we have to clean these up. I'm hoping, as Mark's email from Governor State indicated, that should be the last one. I hope
And
so
we're
too.
right there, yeah.
I hope so too, because
We're getting
this
close.
old one backwards to clean things up and then having to move forward with it all, okay? So, what I am happy to say is, latter part of 21, I got to really take a close look at what was going on and identified a lot of the problems. So we've got those things cleaned up moving forward. As you can tell from 20, which is on page 10, from 21, 22, 23, the amount of transactions that have been a problem have dropped off significantly. Way it should be.
Well,
okay?
procedures now.
Yes, we've got a lot of things cleaned up and pretty much taken care of. I will be getting these taken care of, get them posted. I will have to also update the annual reports for 4 years because of all of these changes. And once I get those done, I will pass those on to Lindsay to do what needs to be taken care of with them. And
Well, then we need to post them with the state, don't we?
They've already been filed. Amending them and changing, I'm not sure exactly how it's gonna work out, and what they're really gonna want. What I can tell you is, they will have to be shared with your new auditors. Cause I know they're waiting to get in here
Yes.
on things. But once those are cleaned up, that'll give them something else to work on.
It's a good job for Lindsay to find out.
Yes, so, I have also passed passed on to Steve, it's on your agenda, additional engagement letter for carrying some things forward. As you'll note, the amount of things that I'm involved with is dropping off quite a lot, which is the idea. After all, I am working towards retiring. Okay?
You're never gonna get rid of Franklin Township.
You better change your cell phone.
A lot of people retire and come back.
I've retired
Yeah,
once
we got
already.
one.
I'm retired a second time, so I'm winding down.
You're always gonna be our catch net, our safety net. Hey,
Well, at least the amount of time that I spend here will be reduced.
I am going to, and you can correct me, but I have seen a uptick in the relationship, working relationship, and the training process, and I applaud you both for working well together and getting things ironed out, and
I will also add that the position is being advertised. It's gonna have to help out if we feel it's necessary. There's a lot of things that I've done over the past 4 years here, besides cleaning up all this stuff. I've helped out with getting a lot of things done, keeping things up to date. And Robin's very much aware of them. She can do a fair amount of it, but there's only so much Robin can do.
Right.
Lindsay's got some of it taken care of now and is aware of it too, but it's a lot of work. And somewhere along the line, somebody else has to pick that stuff up. So,
yeah, and that's where, you know, we part of the problem that it wasn't being picked up back in 17, 18, 19, or whatever. That could be part of the problem, but other parts we won't talk about, but yeah.
a lot of it has to do with people not understanding how things work. You have a transaction reported to the books, you go to the bank and you do an electronic transaction, they need to match. A lot of times there's all these electronic transactions taking place at the bank that never got reported to the books.
I tend to get myself in trouble at home with that. So, using my bank card and not telling people what. And then we both balance the checkbook together.
That happened to me many years ago when I first got married. And 1 month later, we both had separate checking accounts because we were not going to OD the checking account with each of us hitting the debit card.
I have a question on this annexation money.
Yeah.
Is that what we get per year?
No.
Okay.
No. There's approximately just over $100,000 coming in off that annexation agreement right now.
Just a little over $100,000 a year.
And it goes to the general fund. Okay? There's something else.
That gets my blood pressure up, but that's okay.
That's the money. That goes back to the annexation agreement, and another piece of it that came into play. Much beyond that, I can't tell you without getting my hands on the agreement and going through it to see what's what with it, okay?
Maybe that can help out with the safer grant, but we'll figure it out.
You never know.
Never know.
So, anyways.
Gentlemen, you have a question?
Yeah, more of a statement. So I've got a copy of that. I've poured through that agreement several times. And there's several different agreements, and then there was agreement that couldn't be found, which was the Philippi Road, maintenance agreement. Those monies were to be used for snow removal, blah, blah, blah. But the actual monies that was to come in on the agreement was the general fund, but I did not think that there was any strings to that money other than the agreement for maintenance. So we'll find out.
Yeah, I'm under the impression from what Mark had relayed to me, that there was a second piece that came into play. And again, I don't know exactly what that is, because I've not.
It'd be
read
interesting,
through the
because
agreement.
I thought I knew that agreement pretty well, other than if the second part is
Yeah.
what they call the maintenance agreement part. That would have to be set aside.
Maybe that's the piece that they were
Right.
looking at, but once that's expended, it's over with.
Sure.
I do have something.
Yep.
So in the letter of engagement.
Yes.
James was talking about you and Lindsay working together, and that's not in there. Like, you and her, so you're completed with that, and you'll be willing to help, if we can get that position filled, you'll be around to try to help us move that
Sure.
person into the right, like, basically you talked about it, but, I mean, you will be willing to help us move the other person in the direction that we need to get them in to keep us moving
Yes,
forward.
and even as things progress, when I'm here, if they got questions and so on, I will be answering them, right, and helping.
Now, when I read that, I just noticed
Yeah,
that wasn't in there.
I will, one of the things on there is I will reconcile the, UAN to the bank for the month of May, and I'm gonna walk both of them through this in one. Because I will tell you that the reconciliation is not straightforward. It's not as easy as most of us with our checking account being able to reconcile. There's a lot of pieces, parts that come into play. So,
That's all I got.
We thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
well, I need to move on to my other
Yep.
obligations.
Yep.
Okay?
And, I apologize, Bob, I apologize to you. Mr. Major did hand me a note wanting to do your swearing in,
Sounds good.
a little earlier, and, we'll do it now.
All right, let me get the masses on their way. I can start with just an apology for being tardy. We had kind of a cool situation this morning where the state was buying back all of the PFAS foam that we've accumulated over the years, protecting the storage tanks up there on Philippi, Fisher, and Wilson roads. So I was out there dropping off all that foam, and obviously EPA is involved and hazardous waste carriers, so the process was a lot more tedious than I expected.
Is that being replaced with a new phone?
So we had a donation from Energy Transfer, which is at the corner of Broad and Wilson. They gave us about 550 gallons of the new foam. And then the old BP, which is now Buckeye Pipeline on a little further up on Wilson Road, on the west side of the road, they just donated 1,000 gallons. So we're gonna be back up and running here by this afternoon.
And that 1,000 gallons roughly mixes up how much? Because, I mean, you think 1,000 gallons of foam, you're not shooting
So
straight
it's
foam.
3% with water, so.
Okay,
What's that, 30,000 gallons
Mhm.
of water?
that's a lot of water fighting fire.
We basically in the past, we have stockpiled enough to put out the biggest tank if it were on fire. We're working back towards that. This is 3% where the old stuff was 1%, so we need 3 times as much now. We're working with the oil companies to figure out the relevance of how much do we keep. Because we're gonna call the whole state one of those storage tanks actually called.
So we had one of the storage tanks in 1971, I believe it was.
In Grove City, I was down in Grove City though, but our phone truck was in it doing most of the work.
So, we were able, was that a difficult, I mean, I can remember that as a small youngster, that fire.
Yeah.
And I believe somebody was using a welding or something on the tank and caught on fire. Was that something that they, in that air to today's air, we now have better technology to be able to put it out quicker?
Oh my gosh. You have to have the tank burn down, so depending on how full the tank is. I mean, it's gonna burn for hours before we're even mobile and set up, and to the point where the EPA is, or the oil company itself is like, okay, put it out now. We'll deal with the rest. Apparently, you guys not to get his phone. Let's try a different.
Here they
Here
go,
they
sir.
come.
Here they are.
Ah, here we go. No, I'm just gonna stand. So you stand right in front of everyone. This is Preston, if you weren't here last meeting. Hi, Preston.
How are you? I'm coming in there.
Hey.
Standing on.
Right ahead and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and I will in all respects
and I will in all respects
obey and comply with the rules, regulations, and resolutions
obey and comply with the rules, regulations, and resolutions
as set forth
as set forth
by the Franklin Township Board of Trustees,
by the Franklin Township Board of Trustees,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of my employment.
the duties of my employment.
I like this family, I mean, you guys have already accepted me into the family.
You're never gonna remember.
Impressed.
You can just stand up behind me, but I'll say hi to me.
Bob, you can poke him as many times as you want.
I do, unfortunately.
I'm just teasing you.
Oh, that's neat.
The pressing starts on June 3rd up at Sullivan Avenue.
Good.
So you see him on the street soon.
I guess Dad doesn't want pictures.
So now I'm telling you. Everybody run.
Three, 1, 2, 3.
Trying to get him out of the house. And then we'll have to wait a little bit longer.
I guess that gives that new meeting like a fire in your rear.
Yep.
I heard you were gonna give a
Unless
presentation.
you got the whiskey.
Be safe, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, fellas. Need anything?
Nah.
You good? Should be good.
It is what it is.
Let me get the, couple banks of lights down, might be easier to see.
So mostly this presentation here is basically, we're up to a needing to put on a fire levy again. So I wanted to kind of outline why we need it, what types of levies are out there. We all have opinions on which one and which kind we think we should go with, so just kind of wanted to let everybody know as simply as possible, just kind of where we're at and what we're looking for to put on the ballot come November. Again, I apologize, I would have had this worked out. Can
You were
go to
busy
that?
getting rid of phone.
Yeah, can you go to that far right corner?
I like to go in.
Yeah, something that far right corner.
And I think
I
take
have
it
to
back
go
to the house this way.
What's the plan?
Did you get sprayed with phone?
It should be there.
There's your USB drive.
But it doesn't have a file on it.
Put a blank one in there?
stay, moving wing.
Would you have anything else other than this?
I do not.
Let's go ahead and,
Continue with the meeting and once we get the technology worked out.
yeah, yeah.
All right,
We'll
sorry
move,
about
we'll move
that.
on with the meeting, and if not, we can bring this up at the next meeting, and.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very, very important information to get out to the public. Can someone please turn the lights back on?
Can we use your laptop and immediately he'll be ready to go? Okay.
Turn the lights off.
Yeah, Mr. Smith, Chief Smith, would you like to go through your stuff?
She's got it,
Never mind.
yes.
He's fast.
What do you need me to do? Oh. Now it's acting up.
Bob, he did give me a note, I just failed to
Oh,
remember.
sorry, my fault for being late.
That's what I like about HP, plug and play, don't, if it sits my line, I'll just go key in there and try to find it, cap.
They can.
What's that?
I had one once, put it up the street.
I know, I just went for it, just there. Oh, gosh. This?
The computer.
Do we want to, so the people at home can see, is there a way to move that camera over here so that?
Maybe we should just put it online.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can just upload this
Yeah.
PowerPoint.
Okay.
I can upload it.
Online somewhere. Basically, I just wanted to go over some general budget information and then discuss the difference between a township-wide levy and a permanent tax levy. So our 10-year budget outlook, if you look out, in 2024, we're at 6.1 million is my budget this year. It increases a little bit each year, and by 2034, if you just increase at the same rate, we're up to 8.75 billion. Here's a quick comparison between us and some other departments and their budgets that run basically the same level of service that we do, just to show you how much we do with way less in revenue. So our budget's 6.1 million, we run 2 stations, 4 trucks. Prairie's budget for this year was 9 million, they have 2 stations. Turo's 10.5 million for 2 stations. And you have Arlington sitting there at the highest end with $11.6 million budget for the same two stations that we run. So that's just kind of letting you know that we're not being fiscally irresponsible, we're doing the best with what we can. And I mean, that's my own personal bias, but we have a better department than any of the rest of those. We basically break our budget into 2 funds. You have the EMS fund, which does generate transport money. We do get paid back by insurance companies for transports. We pretty much maximize that to the best we can. As you can see, it's about 1.2 million, and we're expected to pretty much stay there for the foreseeable future. But obviously, everything is more expensive to fix the trucks, for gas, manpower, everything goes up. So if you look out 10 years, we're at a pretty big deficit there. $500,000 short by 2028, so that's not even that far away. The fire fund, the top is expensive, is the expenses. That middle line is our revenues. So after the levy, the temporary levy falls off next year, that's your baseline of the what's bringing. And so therefore, that red line at the bottom is your fire fund. It's already in the negative, and it just continues to get worse as we go out past 2025. This was already included, so I thought I'd just keep it in there because I thought it was a good quote. But the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. So it's about that time. I laid out a quick timeline. We got to get together now, figure out some strategies, what's going to work for the township and our community. We have talked in the past about finding a third party marketing company to help us through the levy process, so I just have this June, we can get started on that. By July, we need to follow the steps to get this on the levy. The deadline, I think, is August 7th to get it on the ballot, and come November, pass the levy. So quickly, a township-wide levy, it basically takes all of the permanent levies off what we're collecting right now and replaces them with one permanent levy to operate on. The way we have it set up, it actually taxes all the properties that have annexed in away from Franklin Township from 2003 on, so you get your money back for Cooper Stadium, the casino, if Western Mall were to leave, all the other properties that have left the township, we still get some tax revenue from that. So with that, I know this is where it gets muddy. 1 mil is basically what you vote on, and it's how many mills do you need that are generated by your tax revenue. So 1 mil with this levy will generate $375,000. And so we would need 15 to 16 mills. I think currently right now we have 18 mills on the books in permanent levies. So this would actually drop the millage, although to keep our services where they're at, I understand what I'm asking here in the con side there. It's a pretty decent increase in taxes to the point $250 per 100,000 per year. And the other thing is we'll have to battle negative and likely false or exaggerated information because the casino is not going to want to pay double taxes, Cooper Stadium's ownership, et cetera, et cetera. The list goes on and on. That versus a permanent tax levy, which is what we just passed for the PD, this would still fund our current level of service, but if you look to the cons, it's actually $400 to $500 per $100,000 because 1 mil only generates $284,000. So it's a pretty significant difference. So just to keep our level of service where we're at, we would need a minimum of 10.3 mils added on to the existing 18 that are already permanently on there. So your tax levy for your fire department would be 30 mils, which is pretty ridiculous. Other cons, we've attempted to pass levies in the past and they've all failed, twice in 2013, 14, and 2020. A little bit of additional information, the absolute minimum amount to run our current level of service is a $5.5 million budget, and then that relies on that EMS billing to maintain the budget that we're comfortable with. As you know, we're running that SAFER grant. This one is $3 million. We have applied for a continuation or an extension for 3 more years. This grant was $3.4 million, and I think the extension is $4.3 million. We desperately need a new fire truck, which costs $1 million nowadays. So, in summary, without a large levy in November to permanently fund our fire department, we're gonna have to look hard at our situation. This has been a reality since 2014 and probably long before that. That's what I went back to. And there's definitely a need for our level of service as we have it now. If we were to take out any piece of apparatus, the whole west side gets crushed. And the whole west side of Columbus is worse off than, especially the residents of our township. So that's it. Thank you. That was my
Thank you.
quick. Hopefully I explained something to you that takes hold and makes sense. That's all I got on that. Unless people have questions, I don't know if we need to.
I'll open the floor for questions. I think Carol has a question.
Yes.
Can we turn the lights on back there?
How soon will you have a flyer out, like a door hanger or something that will state that it erases the old levies? This is one overall new, and how soon will you have signs?
So we will work as quickly as we can as a group. When the board has to make the final decision on what levy they wanna run for how much, and then push it through the auditor, get it certified. And then once we do that, then we can start the campaigning process.
Cover more territory quicker and get the information
Get
out
'em out.
instead of the negative garbage that gets fed. That goes out really quick because it doesn't have to be certified.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Absolutely.
So I'd like to hear from some of the audience, because this board has to make a decision which one they're gonna go with. Does a township-wide levy make sense where, and we're hearing properties that are being annexed, they will never have revenue coming in, we end up picking up the cost? Renew a time levy or a new permanent levy? So we have like three choices, is that correct?
Yes.
So what would the consensus of the residents be? Would they want to consider a time levy, a permanent, which it would be a permanent, but if we was to do a township-wide levy, that would be a yes and no vote. Yes, you believe that the people like the casino or any other business that has annexed should help pay the fair share.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're gonna look at. And we put it out there before. A lot of people didn't understand it. We did not educate well enough. There was first class overnight, 8x10, I still have them, saying your taxes was going up 229% if you vote yes. So the false narrative in that, you're absolutely correct. We would need to get that out to the people so that they would be able to see it. I think help from professional people that do this and being able to put something together would be a big difference. But we would like to hear from the public what they would like to see. Yes?
We've gotta have this. I see how much these guys do. I can even identify which truck is which. But I know that we need a permanent residence, or permanent one, and those that have annexed themselves without permission need to be responsible for their actions and pay for it as well. It's
Yeah.
just as good as it gets.
Absolutely.
I mean, I was on that site when the casino was built and saw all that stuff going on, cause they were my client, and it's like, I knew the tricks those years ago.
I guess whose truck's first to show up there? when something-
Yeah, I'm well
Yeah.
aware. I'm well aware. You're the only one that's close to them.
Do we get paid on that too? I know we get Medit pay whenever you guys run for Columbus or anyone else.
We do not engine wise.
You don't?
That's pathetic. You should.
That's wrong.
What is our percent now? I mean, how much do we actually get from taking tons of runs over Columbus and other places for EMS?
It's
We have to be
basically-
raising every time, right?
No, it's pretty well stayed pretty steady. The amount of runs goes up, but the percentages, city versus township. is
Price
stayed-
wise? That's
No,
where I'm
not-
talking price, are we raising prices? Not what we're getting. It has to be going up.
For the EMS transports?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's mostly because of our district governed by Medicare.
Mm-hmm.
And so Medicare only pays a certain amount, and so you can max that amount out. And then
Oh, we
some
don't get-
insurance companies.
City doesn't pay us?
No, that's all
Oh, I
based
thought it
on,
was. When we take a run for Columbus, I thought we get X amount, so no.
It's mutual aid.
Yeah.
But we also abuse them too.
Yeah, no,
We're
totally,
separate.
but it's more vice versa than,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, but they also provide ladder trucks,
Oh, yeah.
hazmat.
no,
Yeah.
All
totally.
these things we could never.
Did anyone else have a comment on what they think which levy? I mean, this is good information.
I have another question that maybe would help people. Price wise on the ladders, engines and all that stuff, we got top of the line. I know Columbus doesn't even have anything like that. Can we maybe trim some of the fat to help? Not being mean, you know what I mean? I'm not
Yeah,
being mean or
absolutely.
whatever,
Yeah.
using that analogy of trimming the fat.
So-
But can we not go that high tech and just get an average?
This truck was the same price as any other strip. This was
Okay.
like the base model. It just looks pretty.
Okay,
I think part of it's just because of the way the front end of it looks, but it was the same price as their base model. That's
Okay.
why we ended up with this one.
just one,
Did anyone else have a comment about levy? What they think?
All right, hearing none, thank you.
Yes, that's all I
Get
have.
us our paperwork,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we can get out and get started.
I'll do it.
The floor is closed now for comments. Chief, I'm gonna put you on last because we have something we need to get Tommy back out in the field. Mr. Stevens, Sheriff Department, you have anything for us other than Tommy's retirement?
I have nothing on the agenda. I would just like to recognize Tom Cheshire for his 24, 25 years.
God bless
So he's getting ready to
Twice
retire again for the second time.
Yeah, I asked for Tommy to be here today because, anyone that has retired twice from this township with 25 years, and with service, not counting the years he had to step away because of different issues, but like I said, he retired once, came back, now he's gonna retire again. I applaud him, and I would like to make a motion to make, June 3rd is your last day?
June 3rd.
I would like to make a motion that we do, June 3rd, from this point forward, be recognized as Tommy Cheshire Day in Franklin Township.
I will gladly second that.
We've got a second, we got 2 seconds here. We've got 2 seconds here, Mike beat you to it this time.
That's good.
Mike seconded. Lindsay, will you please give us a roll call vote?
Yep, Jen?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes. Tommy?
yes.
June 3rd, from here on out, will be recognized as Tommy Cheshire Day in Franklin Township. We appreciate you for all your service and your dedication to this township throughout the years.
His knowledge of the township's gonna be well missed.
Just throw the alarm clock away.
Him and I've talked many times on, he's brought me up to speed many times on the township and different things. He's a wealth of knowledge. Jim, you're in trouble.
Yeah, he's,
I said yesterday we should keep him on retainer.
Yeah.
And Tommy, I would've made your luncheon, but I got late notification of it and I couldn't get out of meetings that I already had, but
Not
I
like
wanted
I'm
to make sure you
disappearing now, I just live at Hardesty.
I wanted to make sure you were recognized, so, thank you.
Thank you.
Jim, anything else?
no, I just know he took me under his wing 16 years ago, and I'm glad he did. 'Cause he helped me
I
out a
can
lot.
tell you, around 2000, when I first started here, we had work orders back there that was 4 years old, unaddressed. And I asked Harold, what are you doing? Just, these people passed away, first, throw it away. What are you gonna do with a 4-year-old work order? But that's how we operated back then.
A lot of changes.
Well, yeah. It got better when Jim got there. I can tell you that, but I'm not sucking up to him because I'm leaving.
There you go.
Well, it did get better.
But that's all I have.
Tommy, you have a home here anytime.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Like I said, I only live a half a mile. I'm so close to the township.
You never know, on retainer, we might get the big snows this year. We need one more person.
You may have to
It's
come back, you may have to
possible.
come back and
Never
get some of
know.
these, you may have to come back and get some of these young guys that don't know what they're doing in line.
They're pretty,
They're, I know they are.
Yeah,
We have a good
And they're
recruit.
good control.
It's nice to see that you got good equipment in your latter years
Yeah, I
versus.
think that happened too, though. Yeah.
But,
Because when I sat right here at the desk, Ed Seeger, Tim Guyton, Cheryl Schreck, and they hired me. And I looked at them and I said, can I be fired for anything I say? Cheryl said, no, Tom, what do you got to say? I said, every piece of equipment back there will not pass the inspection of the state of Ohio. Ed sat there now. You never see Ed move fast. That flag fell down, that's how fast he moved. And we still didn't get new equipment. Cheryl come back there 2 or 3 times, said, are they harassing you for what you said? I said, nobody brought it up again.
well, we're glad you was here, we're glad you worked through all these problems. In the latter years, you had some good equipment to work with, so we appreciate you.
Yep. I'll be here.
Thanks, Tommy.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Jim.
Yes,
Thanks, Jim.
that's all I've got.
All right.
Thank you.
Chief Smith, floor is yours.
Yeah. Wanna shake my hand again?
Yeah, come on up, we want to shake your hand.
Let him talk.
Come on, Tommy.
Fine.
Don't have that humming in your ear?
No. Well, I just knew it was on, so I thought, well, I'm standing here, I'll just shut it off.
I would have probably done the same thing.
Well, we have accumulated a lot of stats. Put your seatbelts on, it's gonna take a second. We will start with the month of May. Total runs were 1,017. Within that, we had 77 incident reports, 151 traffic stops, 25 assist to other units, 28 non-injury accidents, 22 non-injury hit skips, 21 injury accidents, 4 burglaries, 2 burglary in progresses, 1 bad check forgery call, 7 animal complaints, 26 domestics, 5 neighbor complaints, 7 drunks, 3 fights, 16 juvenile complaints, 23 thefts, 11 thefts in progress, 5 missing persons, 3 missing persons returned, 10 persons with a gun, 2 persons with a knife, 14 shots fired, calls, individual, 17 stolen vehicles, 3 recovered vehicles, 11 suicide attempts, 148 suspicious persons, 41 suspicious persons in cars, 6 vandalisms, 19 threats or harassments, 6 mentals, 53 alarm drops, and 15 assaults. On the Partridge Interpreter.
Wow, you guys were busy.
It was a busy month in May.
Yeah, we had some other incidents in May too.
We did. Any questions on those?
No, sir.
First, okay. So, May 23rd, we teamed up with the Sheriff's Office for Operation Unity. We had a few cars in that. I wanted to give their stats, even though they put it out over Facebook and Channel 10 already. 123 traffic stops were made, 64 traffic citations, 46 warnings, 16 seatbelt citations, 31 seatbelt warnings, 14 felony arrests, 20 misdemeanor arrests, 24 no-ops, 1 OVI arrest, 1 criminal trespass, 3 people were referred to addiction treatment, 5 illegal assets seized, which could either be cash, stolen goods, etc. 11 illegal guns seized, 21 vehicles impounded, 60 instances where a citizen was contacted directly for crime prevention, 8 grams of cocaine seized, 11 grams of fentanyl, 30 grams of marijuana, 10 grams of methamphetamines, mushrooms were also seized, not the kind you get at Kroger, 30 pills, 1 illegal gun recovered, which was stolen 5 days prior out of Houston, Texas. 1 trespasser was trespassed inside Galloway Village Apartments. I would state that the area of operations for this was Prairie Township, coming into Franklin Township. It kind of went down to like Broad and Wilson area and west of that. 3 individuals referred to treatment. They stopped a theft in progress at Sheets. The stolen goods were recovered and returned to the clerk. Questions on that one? So we have our new state-of-the-art traffic monitoring devices deployed. Klein Road, and we just whittled it down to 7 days to make the metrics a little easier, between 518 to 524. Going westbound on Klein Road, there were 68,572 cars. The highest speed, or the average speed, I'm sorry, was about 50, and that was for about 4,000 of those cars. So it went down from there, so most people were within the speed limits, but you had about 4,000 of those during the week that were at least 50, which is 15 and over. So the highest time for enforcement for us is gonna be rush hour, between 6 and 8 in the morning and 3 and 5 in the afternoon. And then I have some.
I'm sure you've passed that down to.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's gonna be part of the grant.
Traffic
you
grant,
have.
yes. Hart Road, same time period, 9,437 cars. about 530 violators, going about 50 miles, around the average speed of 50 miles. So that's a lot less than Klein Road, but we see the same trends. It's being rush hour. Hart Road is such a cut through going between Brown Road and Harmon. So we now have, I believe, one on Randsburg and one on Fisher Road. So I'll have those stats for the next meeting.
I'd be interested in Fisher Road. I'd be interested in both of them, but Fisher Road is, I'm sure you're gonna have some high speeds there.
No, I think so too. I think we're gonna see similar trends everywhere with rush hour. Next, we got it a little early. We were notified of the traffic grant for 2025. So what I would like is a motion from the board to complete the application process to get that started for next year. It will be the same as this year. Sergeant Pollock will work with Robin and get that all situated.
I think we've got all the wrinkles in that process worked out.
It seems to be going just fine.
I would make a motion that we give you permission to apply for it. And I'd ask for any discussion. Hearing none, I'd ask for a second.
I'll second.
Jim?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes. Very good, chief.
Thank you. So I have, any questions?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh, go ahead.
I happened to catch the news the other night and happened to see where a township, I can't remember which township, but they were talking in regards to the flock cameras, and there was a grant, and they put a lot of, the flock cameras in. Did we miss an opportunity for a grant?
I wasn't aware of that grant, so that's Madison Township, is the township you saw. They got a grant for $150,000.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see if we could use that grant for something else, since Flock kinda left a bad taste in our mouth.
Right.
With their business practices.
Right.
I don't think it was specifically for Flock, however.
Okay, they used it for the flock cameras.
They did use it for that though.
So it could have been used for law enforcement such as, drunk driving to speed to whatever.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure there was different stipulations.
Okay.
Can you look and see if there's a grant available?
Thank you.
I do have a question for the chief. So since we last spoke, the last time you were here, we were talking about adding a 13th officer. And we had a special meeting, and Lindsay had let us know that you had used 57% of your budget in that meeting.
Right.
And that seemed, I didn't think you indicated that, so I was sort of just, in my mind, I was wondering, and I indicated that I thought it could have been overtime or something, so can you
elaborate
and get, speak on that?
Yeah, I have our current sheets. So currently, we are at 37.5% of our budget. For the year.
37, not 57?
Not 57, so it's a 20% difference. Randy, you ain't in.
Okay, cause when Rob and I looked at it, it was showing us 57%, so,
Unless we get different reports than you guys do.
yeah,
Can you guys work that out and let us know?
yes.
Well, I don't think I can work it out. I just put them on.
Oh,
Right, can you look at it and
get together.
get together?
So we had a meeting, yeah, so that number's not accurate. So I met with Jeff yesterday about the 13th officer, and he is moving some money from, the old, line item for the vehicles into our overtime budget to get us through till these 2 new officers are trained. So perhaps she was looking at that. I don't know.
Oh, I just don't wanna we don't obviously wanna do something that's gonna hurt your budget, do you
Right,
understand?
if we were at 57%, 5 months in, then we would not be able to afford the 13th
Yeah,
officer.
Correct.
what I'm
That's,
saying.
that's what we were
Cuts
looking at.
down.
That's-
So,
This isn't a blame thing, you understand?
no, I'm not blaming.
No, I'm saying I wasn't either, I just always have to make.
But like we
sure
said
that-
before, when the 13th officer work with fiscal and make sure we have the money and make sure those percentages are right.
Yeah, for each Jeff, we should be good to go. Like I said, we're only at 36% of our budget for the year, and we're just at one end of the month.
That's pretty good.
Well,
Yeah, we're well under budget for what we'll be in June.
Okay.
That's a good job. I
Thank
think
you.
you hold that
Yeah.
budget, I mean, it
That'll
doesn't
give
happen
you
on its own.
20%.
That's, if it is 37%, which that's the numbers you got,
Right.
that's a good job.
No, I think we'll be just fine this year. Absolutely.
Okay.
We have a resolution to address that.
Okay.
The officer with-
That's, I thought I read it in here.
Yeah,
I guess we
I
just
see
may
a
have-
supplemental appropriation.
That's why I wanted to ask you,
do we wanna do it now
vote
that
on
he's
it?
here, or?
Might as well do it.
Yeah,
Sure.
This is fresh on our
I don't have it, you want me to read it? Okay.
You've done it now.
Try.
Your officers doing all right after the,
Yeah, they're doing good, they're all back to work, everything seems to be adjusting just fine.
okay. Go ahead.
this is resolution 2024-080. It's a resolution to provide supplemental appropriations number 5 for the period commencing January 1, 2024 and ending December 31st, 2024. And whereas it is necessary to provide for the current expenses and other expenditures of Franklin Township, Franklin County, Ohio during the year ending December 31st, 2024. And whereas the annual appropriations resolution 2023-270 for the period from January 1, 2024 through December 31, 2024 needs amended. Now therefore be resolved by the Board of Township Trustees of Franklin Township, Franklin County, the sum provided in exhibits A and B that the trustees will see, here to attach B, and the same are hereby set aside and appropriated for several purposes for which expenditures are to be made for and during the year ending December 31, 2024. And in that, to fund the 13th officer. Originally, there were funds available for part-time employees in the amount of $70,000. That will be reallocated for not only to pay for the rest of the year for a 13th officer, but also to cover the department, any overtime that they may accumulate, and then to cover the 13th officer's benefits. There are funds available in the capital that the trustees need to approve to reallocate from capital to the police department's benefits portion of the budget. So that's the purpose of this appropriation, to get the trustees' approval, so these funds can be reappropriated for the 13th officer.
I will, so moved as the resolution is written, and I'd ask if there's any discussion. Hearing no discussion, I'd ask for a second.
I'll second.
Jim?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Mike, you were trying to get my attention for something.
I know you don't like this, but Mary wanted to ask something. I think it
I'll-
had to do with the police.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask, or mention something to Chief?
Go ahead, Mary.
When we were talking earlier, I forgot something. Around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the evening, there's kids mainly, there's adults once in a while. I think they come off of Bellmead, they're riding a mini bike and dirt bikes out on the road around that time. That's high traffic time out there on the road. Can you maybe, have an officer spot check that from time to time?
Yeah, we're already
It's almost
limited.
every night.
Yeah, it's several in that area right there.
Oh.
It's not just them, there's several more, there's a couple on Hart Road too. We've impounded one, but we're trying to get
Well,
all of
the
them.
other night,
Chief?
when I was on the front,
Can you get with her after the meeting and let's, or,
okay. I'm
let's
sorry.
move? No, that's okay. I mean, that seems like it's a one, you know, we need to get together and get some more information there. Let's go to Lindsay now. You got anything else?
I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Yeah, just make sure you get with Mary.
I will.
Steve, do you have the resolution for the garden manager?
I do.
Okay, just making sure.
I do.
Okay, the only thing that I have is what we talked about with Jeff, another resolution for his engagement letter.
Okay.
So the Board of Trustees, Franklin Township, Franklin County, Ohio, met in person on the regular meeting, 12 p.m. Thursday, May 30th, 2024. Be it resolved by the Board of Trustees, Franklin Township, Franklin County, Ohio, that the board approves and accepts engagement letter number 28 between Jeff Wilczek, CPA, retired, and Franklin Township for 100 hours at $55 an hour for a total of $5,500. See Exhibit A. You guys all have copies of this. Section 1, that all formal actions of this board concerning and relating to the adoption of this resolution were passed in an open meeting of this board, and that the deliberations of this board and any of its committees that resulted in such formal action were meetings open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements, including section 121.22 of the Ohio Reserve Code. Section 2, this resolution shall be declared an emergency and be in full force and effect immediately upon its adoption.
So moved as the resolution is written. I would ask if there's any discussion. The only thing I will add is the resolution number. The resolution is 2024-081 for the record, and I would ask for a second.
I will second.
Okay. Jim?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
You're gonna pass that down and
Yep.
pass it back. You have anything else for us, Lindsay?
Nope.
All right. Moving on to Mr. Mazur.
Thank you, Chairman. I just have a couple things for you. And I apologize because these were late additions to the agenda. The first one, I think you remember when a family came in, we had issued a nuisance property for a house at 1776 Little Avenue. During the progress of the paperwork being taken care of and mailed out and notices being posted, the house was sold. And as you remember, the family came in and said that they would like us not to destroy their home. They would like to, so this resolution is rescinding the resolution of the original nuisance property. And that resolution is 2024-079. It's an approval to rescind resolution 2024-063. It be resolved that the Board of Trustees of Franklin Township, Franklin County, Ohio approves and authorizes the rescinding of resolution 2024-063 concerning the removal of an unsafe structure located at 1776 Little Avenue in order to allow the new owners as of April 17, 2024 to rebuild the structure and resolve all issues. It be resolved that all formal actions of this board concerning and related to the adoption of this resolution were passed in an open meeting of this board, and that all deliberations of this board and any of its committees that result in such formal action were meetings open to the public in compliance with legal requirements, including section 121 of the ORC. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be in full force and effect immediately upon its adoption.
So moved as the resolution is written. I would ask if there's any questions. Hearing none, I would ask for a second.
I'll second.
Jim?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
I think we all remember the family, and I wouldn't want to boot somebody out of their new home.
I hope to see him again.
I do too.
It'll be nice to keep up with it.
Yeah.
I might drive by, they'll think I'm stalking them or something.
It was nice that they came in. And then they wanna know, do we owe a fee?
Right.
That was nice.
Yes. Anything else?
The last one I have, and again, we just received this morning, and I think the trustees are fairly familiar with what this lady would like to do concerning a community garden on Broadlawn. Please, if you have any questions, ask. It's resolution 2024-082. It's a resolution appointing a new garden manager of the Broadlawn Community Garden. It be resolved by the Board of Trustees of Franklin Township, Franklin County, Ohio, that the board approves the property at 125 Florence Avenue to be used as a community garden to be managed by Sheree Ramsey of Coolidge Avenue. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be in full force and effect immediately upon its adoption.
So I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Mm-hmm.
I was here when that went into place. We tore a house down and the property from the land bank, we started looking at places to be able to have where people could use a community garden. And, one of the things that, I had seen, in my opinion, that turned into, the persons that were, call it, running it or handling it, we were getting I don't know this, for sure, but people would contact us saying, well, they dictate everything that goes on and et cetera. So I would like to see this thrive in that community, but is this something that needs to have basically a manager to manage and who can go in and who can't go in and who can use it and who can't? Or Mr. Stevens, how would you like to see this managed? Because in the past, people would just get sections like A, B, C, D, your section C, and they just kind of picked a spot, and that was your spot.
So
I know you directed this to Mr. Mazur, but I think it's spelled out here in her garden rules, and
Yes, it is.
I really think I think it's something that needs to be managed, otherwise you're gonna have.
Right, but my question is, do we go by what is spelled out here as far as a guardian? I don't recall this before. Is this new, or is this guardian rules, is this something we did, or is this?
Apparently, Nicole was good enough to do a lot of research to find all this original documentation. And that's why I'm looking through these garden rules. These were part of the original garden rules. When the original resolution was written, I can't tell you specifically the date that the original resolution was written. I know it was years ago.
2018.
2018, thank you. So, I don't know,
Well,
did
my
that answer,
something to
did that,
say.
Well,
If you want, go ahead.
my question would be, does the board, obviously, you're too busy to wanna handle who gets A, B, or C, or 1, 2, 3. I have no qualms either way that it's done, but I just wanted to bring it to the board's attention of what we have seen in the past, and then feelings were hurt, and I don't believe it has been used, in some time. I don't think anyone's gardened there in some time because of, let's just say, some sour grapes.
I think I can speak to cover what you're talking about. So the young lady originally approached me about doing this, and I will be happy to, as a trustee, take this on and work with her and see if does that alleviate some of
Yeah,
your
we just wanna
questions?
make sure that it's
And
not.
I'm not gonna run the community
Right.
garden, that's not
Right.
in my forte.
Do you
But
have the liaison?
I will go there and speak with the young lady and, let's just say, for a lack of a better word, be a mentor and try to make sure that, she represented that, she wrote a letter to all of us, and she wants this to be for the betterment of the
Sure,
community.
yeah,
So I
sure.
have no doubts that it'll go well, and I will make it part of, my duties to go around in the township, and I don't have a problem reporting back every 2 weeks to you.
Yeah, you'd be the liaison for us then,
Yeah, we could just list your number and your name right here with hers.
Yeah, if that's what you wanna do, sure, that's my name.
I do know from past experience with community gardens, it does work best when gardens are assigned.
Yes.
People will come in and they'll say, well, I don't like that spot, I'd rather have this one.
Mhm.
And then you'll have 5, 6, 7 people
fighting,
jockeying.
yeah,
for
I don't wanna, yeah, but so moved as the resolution's written. I think we've had a discussion.
You need to add that part about me or not? Lindsay wanted to put something
If
about
it
putting
says it
my
has
number.
to be
Yeah.
a
Are you good
person,
with
right?
that
We
way
can just
that
add that.
is, or are we good?
I think the resolution's written fine,
Okay.
but I would make let's pass the resolution, we got a resolution on the table. I'd ask for a second.
I'll second.
Jim,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Now I'll make a motion that we add to the list of it, to add, trustee Blevins as the liaison to the Board of Trustees to the community garden.
I'll second that.
Jim,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes. Anything else for us?
No, sir.
Okay. John, do you have anything for us?
I do. The only thing that I would say, people probably saw it in the news, the infamous, bus station. They're rounding it down to where it's just transfers only.
Yep.
Hopefully that's gonna reduce the amount of activity there. We would like to see it closed, but that's pretty much the latest with that. The car wash that is there, the National Pride right beside it, the open field, and the two homes just to the south of that is going to be annexed into, the city of Columbus.
Of course.
And the crane company on Philippi Road, where's the rental, is going to put $11 million into that operation. I only found out about this, and I brought it up at the meeting. I happened to be sitting in the audience for a total different situation. And that came up, and I'm like, I have a question, they let me ask it. I live 100 yards from there, why was I never notified? And everyone was like, well, everybody was notified. I'm like, I'm 100 yards away from you as a crow flies, and no one on our street, no one ever knew anything about it. So that's pretty much what's going on in that area. That's all I have, sir.
I have nothing. I think I've spoken enough today.
I do have something.
I do,
unfortunately.
you see you have something here, but.
And I did not speak to you and John about this because I didn't think it was necessary, but I did speak, so what I'm speaking of is I have something I'm putting together called an employee appreciation. And I spoke to the department heads, each one, and they were fine with it. And so, when we had the Touch a Truck, I had a good friend donate tickets to the Clippers ball games, 4 tickets, parking pass and clubhouse passes and everything. And when I told her how well it went, she gave me 4 more.
Wow.
So I put a packet together for the employees, and I also added a $50 gift card that I wanted to give out because everybody has welcomed me in as a trustee, and I have touched each department. Bob, I came to your roll call, 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. Byron, I came on a Saturday afternoon and sat in while you guys had a shift changeover and things like that. Numerous times, Jim, I've been out and seen you guys do work, and everybody's been welcoming and everything. And it's just my way of saying to the people in the township, we have a good crew here, and every once in a while, it doesn't hurt to say, thanks for what you're doing, and we notice you, and I had the opportunity to do it, and I'm glad to do it. And so what we're going to do, I have the packets together. I'm going to pass out packets to the department heads. The employees are gonna fill out a card and get it back to us before the next meeting, and we're gonna draw a winner out of the hat for all the township employees to have a shot. If you'd like to get in it, get in it. If it doesn't interest you, don't get in it.
Okay.
So,
Good job.
So, should we just have a motion that we're gonna do that, so that way it's done? I mean, I have no problem, I think it's great, but just,
if that's what you need, have it.
I don't know, but it just keeps us.
No,
Keeps us above board. You wanna make that motion?
I actually had him run it past legal, and legal said it was fine, but if, so.
It just shows that the board, it came from, we don't have to, but I was just thinking that, you know, it becomes from the
Okay,
board.
so I'll make a motion that I'm going to, do an employee appreciation, in 2 weeks on 13th.
Yeah, 13th.
We will pick a winner out of the hat, and that employee will receive the,
The tickets.
tickets, and I'm trying to come up, yeah, I was trying to come up with a better word, but that is it, so.
The packet,
There you go, so,
I will second that.
Jim,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Mike.
yes,
Anything else?
that's all.
All right,
I know you're ready.
meeting's adjourned.